it after for 6-8 seconds. Guys, this is what we had to get. This ain't the one we want. You want that ball?
What years he was there and all that, everything. And I was doing that intentional because I know you're about to start.
And you know it frustrates me. That's the whole reason why he does that.
I like cats.
You know, that's what I expect out of Kevin. Guru, I had high hopes for Guru. But this is the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I'm your host, Jack Fairchilds, joined alongside Kevan Lindsey. And
I'm Kevin
Lindsey. I'm not even going to say
that guy over there,
my
Kevin
good friend
Lindsey,
anymore because of the constant harassment there. That's Josh Nichols. No Guru this week. No Guru.
Always.
Oh, goodness, folks. We got another packed show and a lot of stuff to get into. But there's nothing more important than the first thing we're going to get into, because you guys got to go to Jackson Saturday night and watch the Laurel Lady Tornadoes win the championship. You got to see a storybook ending to a career of Coach Cooley there. So, I mean, you've got so much, there's so much you can tell. The game itself, I don't think there'll be as much of a story because it was pretty one-sided from start to finish. But, you know, you guys y'all were there. Kind of tell us, how was the crowd? What was the vibe before the game started? Just kind of walk us through what you saw.
I guess I'll go first. First of all, it was stormy. I mean, stormy outside. Pretty sure I ticked off somebody in the parking lot before I ever made it into the arena. And then, trying to get my car locked, the security, because I laid my camera down, tried yelling at me. And whenever I was just going outside to try to lock my car, that was kind of weird. But once you got in the stadium, I mean, Laurel just did what they've done all year, Jack. Honestly, they took control of this one. If I was to say which of the games were more competitive, I think Guru would agree with me. The Pontotoc game was much more competitive compared to this one. In the finals, I think it was 35-7 at halftime.
Yep.
With just a couple of minutes left, you hear from the stands, L-Town.
Say what?
And then it kind of lasted really until the halftime break, and then they gave a big cheer to the girls as they headed to the locker room. I mean, it was just a thrashing. You know, I'd been asked by a couple of people, a couple of reporters, is Laurel for real? Had they just had an easy schedule all season? You know, what was this Laurel team really going to be like when they face someone to the caliber of someone that could make it to the finals, to the championship game? And I told every one of them that this Laurel team was one of the most impressive teams that I have watched in my career as a journalist and as a photojournalist. And it was put on show Saturday night. Coach Cooley, I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way too. Just an amazing career. Absolutely amazing career. She's pretty much won everywhere that she's been. Mm-hmm. She goes out a winner. I told her, and I wrote about it for my column for Saturday. That's going to be on A4. Just a great coach and an even greater person. There's just no words that are enough for who she is as a person. I know Guru last week talked about it, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it and this week, and the best way that I could do it was to type it up on A4. So make sure you read that column. I'm extremely proud of it. So,
Guru?
Going back to, what Kevin was talking about at the start, yeah, it sucked getting in there it was a torrential downpour. I mean, the parking lot, or the actual kind of like driveway where you drive around the Coliseum to enter where you do for basketball, was already flooded when we got there. We're basically driving through the middle of the parking lot to avoid getting sucked under in the water. But once you got in there, it was a lot of fun. But I mean, they could have called that game at halftime. It was that dominant of a performance. I know you see the final score 52-26 and think, well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of one side, but it was 35, like you said, 35-7 at halftime. And they held Holmes County Central to 2 points in the second quarter. 2 points. And, you know, and then piggybacking off another thing that Kev said, you know, you go down their schedule. They beat Canton, who made it to the quarterfinals in 6A. And they beat them by 34. They beat West Jones twice this year, once by 42. And West Jones made it to the big house in Class 6A. Their 2 losses came to Biloxi, who made it to the semifinals of Class 7A and lost to Starkville, who ended up winning the Class 7A championship. Well, guess who handed Starkville one of its few losses on the year?
Laurel.
Exactly.
41-33.
Yep. And they beat Callaway. You could keep going down the list. And, you know, once they got into district play, it wasn't even a contest. They beat a top 25 team in Northwest Rankin, a second win over West Jones. They played Old Brook 3 times and beat them, and Old Brook was in the semifinals of Class 5A, which I tend to think that might have been a better match or a better game to watching Old Brook and Laurel play for the 4th time than watching Laurel and Holmes County Central. It was just a dominating performance, and it was a dominating team. And, you know, he was talking about some of the other media members being there asking him if they were that good or if it was just, you know, lack of competition. You go through all the names I said, and they're beating all those teams by 25 to 40 points. That, I mean, you know, they were a dominant team led by a dominant player and a dominant coach. And I was speaking with an official in the break after the first quarter, and we were talking about Kayleese Walker, who was Miss 5A basketball and was the Class 5A girls tournament MVP. And he was like, man, nobody can stop her. Nobody can stop her. He said, I called the game when they played Starkville, and he said they couldn't stop her either. And I'll remind you, Starkville's the Class 7A champions. They couldn't stop Kayleese Walker. And that's why she's moving on to play at Louisiana Lafayette next year. And one of their, I don't know if it was their head coach or assistant coach, I don't know if you noticed her, Kevin, but one of the Louisiana Lafayette coaches was there by the locker room Saturday night after everything had finished. And just, again, reiterating about Coach Sherry Cooley, I mean, just a fitting way for her to go out with a championship. And still, even afterwards, I asked her after the game, post-game interview, how it felt to be able to walk off the court as a champion. And like she always does and always has and always will, she always puts it back on the girls and what it means for them, not for her. And she is absolutely, unequivocally the embodiment of what it means to be a championship coach, but also a mentor and leader for, in her case, young women. And she's done that everywhere she has. She even talked about, after our interview, just talking about throughout the last couple of weeks in the run up to the big house, just the players that, reached out to her, whether it be on social media or through a text message, offering up their support. And Alyssa even told me that one of her players that played for her when she was at South Jones, approximately, it's been about 7 or 8 years ago, she was in attendance, and Alyssa talked to her and asked her, she was like, hey, what are you doing up here? She said, I had to come support Coach. I mean, that gives me chill bumps literally all over my body right now, talking about a player that played for somebody. I mean, this is a young woman that's in her mid-20s right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know where she lives, but she made it a point to be in Jackson this past Saturday night as one of a few thousand people in the stands cheering on Coach Cooley and what was her final game. And, you know, it just caps off a phenomenal career, especially the 6-year run that they've had at Laurel High, winning 3 state championships. I mean, Jack said it on the show last week, if they won it, and we felt pretty confident they would, but it absolutely is a dynasty.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 titles in 6 years at any level. Well, I won't say any level. We'll go high school and above. 3 championships, high school, college, professional level in a 6-year span. That absolutely is, in our opinion, definition of dynasty. And, you know,
And even more so in high school, because, you know, if you're looking at the pros, college, I think falls under the same thing as high school, but you're in 6 years, that last championship is a completely different team. So, I mean, you're having to start over so constantly. And
it's
in
not
high
like
school-
you can do in college
Yeah.
and go from Ole Miss to Louisville to Arkansas
You can't
year
recruit.
after year.
Yeah.
You're not recruiting. These girls that were seniors, the 9 seniors on this team were sophomores when they won it in 24, which would have made them 8th graders when they won it in 21.
Yeah.
No, they'd have been 7th graders actually. So yeah, that's what she's doing. She's, you know, it's like, and a lot of people didn't like it when he was there, but that's what Saban did. I mean, you know, and he was doing it before we had this stupid transfer portal where people could jump ship every year, and which led to him getting out. And I'm not going to get off on a tangent, but you know, in a 6-year window, there was times when Saban won 3 titles. That's why his time at Alabama was a dynasty, just like Belichick and the Patriots.
But even Saban's run, in my opinion, was a little bit easier than the run for a high school team, because
he gets to pick who's coming to play for him.
You're dealt the hand you're dealt in most cases in high school. I mean, yeah, you might get lucky and a kid
Transfers
moves to your area,
in.
but it's so few and far between. So again, I think it's harder to build a dynasty like that, and that's just a testament to the job that Coach Cooley did there.
Absolutely. And you know, I wrote a article about the team and mentioned Coach Cooley in there for Saturday's special commemorative sports section, and just, you know, it'll be in the paper, but once again, Coach Cooley, have fun in retirement and enjoy spending as much time as you can with those grandbabies.
Absolutely. And before we move off of this, I came across 2 polls, final polls from Mississippi girls basketball, you know, here. And both of them, I want to get y'all's opinion on it. I'll give mine afterwards. I think we're probably all going to agree. The first one is MississippiSports.com. They released their final Mississippi girls basketball rankings. They have Starkville, the 7A champions, at 1. Tishomingo County, the 4A champs, at 2. Biloxi, the runner-up, didn't even win the championship, at 3. Then Laurel at 4. You know, so again, that, and I don't want to give my opinion until I hear y'all's, because y'all have been more engaged in high school basketball this year than I was. But I mean, when you see that and you see a Laurel team that was as dominant as it was, not just ranked behind one team, but ranked behind a team that they beat. I understand they lost twice to Biloxi, but Biloxi wasn't able to finish their story. So I think that discredits you from being a top 3 team when you lose your championship. So again, guys, what do y'all make of that ranking?
Well, I looked at Max Prep's ranking before the show, and Max Preps has Laurel ranked at 5 overall.
That's even worse.
They have Starkville 1, Biloxi 2, Tishomingo County 3, MRA 4, and Laurel 5. Rounding out the top, I'll go ahead and go through the top 10.
We don't need to
Boonville,
tell
Neshoba, Central, Massachusetts.
Yeah, our focus is on where Laurel's ranked.
Well,
so.
I say that because you have Olive Branch, and the reason why I wanted to say this is because you have Olive Branch who won the title and beat Neshoba Central in the championship. They're at 16.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the matrix, that whatever it is, the algorithm, if you will, that Max Preps uses is just, it's out of whack.
Yeah. As far as the other polls that I've seen, most have had Starkville, Biloxi, and Laurel all around that 1 to 3 range.
I'll give you the other poll that I found, that I think is the Clarion Ledger's poll.
Yeah.
And they have Starkville 1, Laurel 2, Biloxi 3, Tishomingo 4. So I still think if you're going to have Laurel 1 or 2, I see the argument to rank Laurel above Starkville since they did beat them. I guess they're taking penalty because the team that Laurel couldn't beat, Starkville was able to beat. So I can see the argument there. I'm less offended by this poll, but I think any poll that has Laurel below 2 just doesn't work for me.
I don't know. I feel like with Starkville, Biloxi, and Laurel, you could probably round robin those teams, and they would probably alternate wins and losses. This is where I told someone whenever they were talking about the rankings right after the game, they were like, well, Laurel couldn't beat Biloxi. And I said, well, put an asterisk by one of those games because Laurel didn't have their head coach. She was in ICU at the time.
Yep.
And that should count for something.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they are 0-2 against Biloxi, but Biloxi couldn't beat Starkville. So I think Laurel was playing the best basketball of any team in the state at the end of the year. And that's not being biased. That's just, you put up, it's 35-7 at halftime against Holmes County Central, who's no pushover.
Yeah.
Olive Branch beats West Jones by 1, and Laurel beat West Jones by 42 this year.
Yeah. That tells you all you need to know.
West Jones at one point was the number 2 team in Class 6A, and they beat them by 42. And Starkville, they beat head to head. That's your best team in 7A by the championship game. So, I get it. You couldn't beat Biloxi, but at the same time, you beat Starkville. If you play those games 10 times, I figure Laurel gets the edge on Biloxi, to be honest with you. They probably have the edge.
Especially with the head coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Guru, do you got anything you want to add on those 2 rankings?
Yeah, I think, for me, yes, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Biloxi beat Laurel twice during the regular season, once without Coach Cooley, but they didn't win state. So, in my opinion, you can't rank them above the 5A state champion.
Who beat the 7A state champion.
Who beat the 7A state champion. And then that brings me to my next point. Tishomingo County being ranked above Laurel. They're 4A, Laurel's 5A. Tishomingo was 28-2, pretty dominant. Laurel's 32-2, finished on a 20-game winning streak. And I think Tishomingo finished on a 20-plus game or right at 20-game winning streak. But they're 4A. When I look at it, and you compare it in any sport in our state, the bigger class, that champion should be ranked in most occasions, especially when it's this close. I would say Laurel should be ranked above Tishomingo County. I was trying to find any common opponents and didn't really see any other than Starkville, who Tishomingo County lost to, and Laurel beat. I would have to put them above Tishomingo, and then that puts them right there back again with Starkville.
Yeah.
They played one time head-to-head and beat them.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this Laurel Lady Tornado basketball team is the number 1 team in the state.
100% agree. I think there was no shock that all 3 of us were going to agree on that one.
And I don't feel like we're saying that. I mean, we're trying to break it down to make it make sense, not because it's Laurel. I mean, if Biloxi would have beat Starkville, we would not be saying that Laurel's the number 1 team.
And that's why we said we can see an argument for Starkville being 1 because they beat the team that beat Laurel twice. Right. We might not agree with, but that's less egregious than ranking Laurel 4th or 5th.
Right.
That is Laurel, any poll that has Laurel below 2 is not a credible poll, in my opinion. It's
I
not
agree.
credible.
I'll add this. Just looking at it, and I may be off, but I don't think I am at all. Laurel played 8 teams this year who made it to the Big House. They played Holmes County Central. They played Pontotoc. They played Brookhaven. They played West Jones. They played, I think, did Natchez make it? I can't remember. No, Natchez I don't think made
Natchez didn't.
Biloxi, Starkville, Quitman, and Heidelberg.
10-2.
Yeah.
10-2
They
against
played
those teams.
8 teams. And then they played Brookhaven multiple times. And they played West Jones multiple times.
Oh, make that 12-2 because I didn't count the 3 wins against Old Brook.
Mm-hmm.
12-2 against those 8 teams.
Yeah.
You know, it's frustrating, but polls are subjective, and we always expect them to make us angry at times.
And the other thing that I question with those 2 polls that you brought up, Jack, because we know that there's a algorithm, some type of matrix that Max Preps uses, because I've watched it over the last course of the 2 weeks of the playoffs, and Laurel's gone from 3 to 6, and then to 5, and it just doesn't make sense.
It's dumb.
But with the 2 you talk about, I wonder how many people. Is that one person? Or is it 3 people?
Say.
No, I know it doesn't. But that would be my question: is who's all voting in that poll?
And did you see any of these teams play before they got to the Big House?
Well, some people couldn't even get the head coach's name right.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we all like
put a cherry on top.
Cherry Cokes, So.
Yeah, put a cherry on top of that.
Laurel won it. Should be number 1. Put a cherry on top of that.
That's perfect segue. Again, we want to. Last week we didn't get too much into softball, so we're going to start with local area softball coverage before we get into baseball. Right now, West Jones is sitting at 7-9. They've won 2 straight games, but they have yet to play a Region 3 6A game, which is weird to me because everybody else has played a couple. They don't play their first region game until the 24th, according to the schedule that I looked at. Of course, we know sometimes those Max Prep schedules can be off, so if we're wrong, we apologize. Where they're sitting right now, night and day better than what we saw last year. Again, I hope that they can keep it up. I think that they're in a region that they could potentially make the playoffs from, which, again, be awesome for this program. And I think that the program's headed in the right direction. I don't think they're quite ready to make a run to the state championship this year, but anything's possible in sports. Like you see it with baseball, softball all the time. Don't let a team get hot, because even a team that you don't have any expectations for, if they get hot, they'll make a run. We're going to talk about a hot baseball team, later on in the show. But so they're sitting at 7-9, and then you've got West Jones. They followed up that 4-game skid that we talked about last time we were talking about them.
South Jones.
Yeah, South Jones. With a 3-game winning streak. They're currently 1-1 in Region 3 5A. So, again, we expected. I think we all said at the time during the 4-game skid that this was not going to last for them, that they were going to find it. There's too much talent on that team, and we're seeing that now. And then you've got Northeast Jones. They're sitting at 14-3 and 2-1 in Region 4 5A. They have won 4 straight after dropping 1 to Purvis. I think that was their region opener. So they've been hot. I think that we all believe of the 3 Northeast on paper, looks like they might be the strongest, but we all say don't sleep on South Jones. And West Jones is really one of those teams that if they figure some things out, and maybe they are, watch out for them. So, Kevin, I'll start with you. What's your takeaway here on the early softball view, looking at the things I just went over?
Yeah, West Jones is padded by, not a knock against them playing a weaker schedule. But I think that those wins, you can't take anything away from them getting those wins. They've won 7. You look at them, they have played South Jones. They lost that one 9-6. Sounds like a competitive game. They've played South Jones twice. The second one was not. It was 21-5 in favor of the Lady Braves, and then Northeast Jones 8-4 and 5-2. That's respectable.
Yeah.
You know, I think that in our tiers of the top teams of softball, I think that it's kind of shaking out how you would think. Northeast Jones, South Jones, then West Jones, Laurel. You know, I can't sit here and knock West Jones at all because even with a lighter schedule. And then once you get into the standings, into who they play, Terry and Hattiesburg, really can't say that they're not. They're just going to be awful in the region.
Yeah.
I don't think Terry or Hattiesburg, either one, are going to be pushovers. But I think they'll be competitive. And then when you look at South Jones, I've said it and I'll keep saying it. This is teams I'm most excited about to see once they get to the postseason.
Yeah.
Like this is where I'm interested in. How are they going to be in postseason play? Will they be a quick exit or not? Because I do think they'll be fine in their region. And then, of course, Northeast Jones. This is one, again, we can talk about the record. The record's great. I don't want to discount it by any means. Our feature players, I think all three of those girls are having great seasons. Just looking at it from afar, this is a team that they've got to prove it in the postseason.
Yep.
I think that that's a fair statement to prove it in the postseason. Get by those coast teams that have been the Achilles heel,
which are now in your region too.
Yeah, which are in your region. Get into the postseason, slip in there, and see what you got in a 3-game series. But I think all of our programs are in a positive direction.
Even Laurel, who we don't have kind of a breakdown on them because we know they're struggling. But I mean, I like the fact that the Guru's talked about them a few times. The fact that they exist, I think, is a victory at the moment. Guru, what's your takeaway on the West Jones, South Jones, Northeast Jones, and where they're at this point in the season?
I think it's, just like we've all stated, kind of right where we thought they'd be. I think, I don't care who they played. Just West Jones already getting the 7 wins this early in the season's just a testament to Coach Jordan and what he's been able to do to turn that program around after what they went through a year ago. I agree with Kev. South Jones, I think once it's strictly district games, they're going to be fine. And then it's going to come down to how they do in the playoffs. Northeast, right there where we thought. I am impressed that they did pick up a region win yesterday over Van Cleve, who, one of those coast teams who's been playing softball, or at least fast pitch softball, a lot longer than some of our schools have. And, they did drop the one to Purvis, but I mean, we knew Purvis was going to be a contender. So it's, again, Northeast Jones, you're looking at, I'm going to say, still sitting around that 2-3 seed level. And it is, what are you going to do once you get to the playoffs? And I mean, sitting here right now, especially, Kev talking about the Terrys and Hattiesburg that West Jones will get to play. All three of these teams are going to be in the playoffs, and then, that's when it matters the most.
Absolutely. We'll be keeping a closer. I know all three of us are dying to get out to one of these games because, I mean, we're excited about all three of those teams and really want to get out there to watch. And we'll be picking some softball games here coming up later in the show when we get to our pick segment. But let's talk about some baseball now because we talked about West Jones being on that 0-6 start of the season that shocked all of us, but all three of us said we weren't worried because we had so much faith in the talent. We had faith in the coach there. I mean, Sutton is one of the best coaches around, so we knew they'd turn around, and they followed up that 0-6 start by winning 5 straight games, 3 of those by mercy rule. So they're now sitting at 5-6 and 3-0 in Region 3-6A. Now, those mercy rules and region wins are against some of the weaker teams in that region. We definitely recognize that, but you still got to go out there and execute. And they executed wonderfully. And then you've got South Jones, who has won 4 straight games following 2 mercy rule wins over Natchez. Then they came back last Saturday. Mercy ruled Northeast Jones, and then they followed that up by Mercy ruling Laurel. And now, again, we're going to be keeping a close eye on what they do. They are 7-4 and 3-0 in Region 3-5A. On the flip side of it, and I think this one kind of surprises us, you've got Northeast Jones, who's now lost 4 straight. They'll be facing Taylorsville this Friday. We will be picking that game later. They are now sitting at 3-7. They have yet to play a Region 4-5A game yet. Not where I think any of us expected Northeast Jones to be going into region play. But again, it's one of those things where we know Coach McKeever's a solid coach. We know there's talent on that team. It just feels like they just hadn't found their footing yet. I mean, you look at the other teams. They had poor starts or 500 starts, and both have kind of found a little bit of mojo at the moment. I think Northeast Jones will find it as well. So I'm not worried about them yet, but I do know they're in a very, very tough region with some traditional powers like Van Cleve that they're going to have to get through. But I still think that they can find a way to at least get a 3 seed, maybe, and just sneak into the playoffs or whatever. But again, like I said, I'm shocked by the start. Kevin, what's your takeaway on these?
Yeah, I'll start with West Jones. I got out there for about 10 minutes or so. Last week talked about that. Some things that I noticed, I went through looking at their standings just now. Poor Jim Hill, man. They've given up 163 runs on the year. Oh, my goodness.
They got pitching, huh? They got really good pitching.
Yeah, man. No, the one thing that I see with West Jones, whenever you break down their record, runs against, they've only given up 53 runs. That is the best in their region. They haven't scored the most though. They're sitting at 91. They're one of the top teams, I would say, that haven't broke 100 yet. George County, they're sitting at 107. Hattiesburg is sitting at 129, and then you have Terry, who's sitting at 134. So, but I think that this is one of those deals where West Jones, they're in the weaker part of their region schedule.
Yeah,
I think that's
fair.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. They faced Jim Hill, and I think it was Forrest Hill or Terry. I can't remember. It was Terry. But they're sitting undefeated, and that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. The big series is George County. Yeah. That's the big series. Hattiesburg is a sleeper series.
Always is.
Yeah. But George County is going to be the series that decides this district, I think. I think it's West Jones and George County. So that's the one I'll be keeping an eye on there. When you move over to South Jones, this is a sneaky competitive district. South Jones, they have given up only 43 runs on the year. And, that's second.
The Walker brothers have been incredible for them.
Second lowest on in the region there. But the big one that's in the way, and I'm sorry, guys, but it's just the truth, is Summerall.
I agree.
Summerall is sitting there at 10-2 overall. They've won 8 straight. South has won 4 straight. But Summerall's given up 16 runs all year. 16.
And they're a traditional power that just moved up to 5A this year. So
yeah, and I don't think that's really going to affect them much, honestly. They've scored 119 runs compared to South Jones' 79. North Pike, really sneaky here. North Pike, they were in there last year with South, but they have scored 135 that they've plated. They've only given up 63.
Have you looked at who they played? Have they played anybody?
I haven't.
Because that can be deceptive too. Like we were just talking about before. If they're playing, I mean, I think Natchez before they played South Jones had a really impressive record until you looked at who they played. Yeah. It was Jackson Public Schools.
Yeah, just looking at their record, it is soft. Still though,
confidence is a thing.
Yeah, confidence. Yeah. That's right. Confidence is a thing. I think South. I think what they should be focusing on is giving Summerall the best that they can give to have a chance to win that region. That's the one I'll be focused on, is Summerall and South Jones. And then finally, Northeast Jones. This is one that I'm worried about. I'm starting to worry about Northeast Jones here. They've given up 66 runs so far this year. That's the most out of their region that they've given up. And on the flip side, they have scored the least amount of runs.
Yep.
They've scored 43, where you have Stone, who has put up 76. That's a region high. And then on the flip side, runs against, Purvis is only giving up 29.
Yeah.
That's a little nervous.
Yeah.
That's making me a little nervous now. I know we talked about after spring break and you get into district play and all of that, but they got to find something.
This was not the start we thought they'd have. We thought the struggles would begin when they got into region play, especially after they started off the season with wins over West Jones and South Jones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm definitely still shocked. Before I go to you, Guru, I want to correct myself. I think I said the Walker brothers when I meant the Johnson brothers, because one of them is Walker Johnson and Beckett Johnson. So I wanted to clarify that because I got to thinking about it after I said, goodness, I think I said the Walker brothers.
I listened right over. I knew what you meant, but
Yeah.
I didn't catch it.
Oh, I know, because if you had, you would have giggled and called me out on it, as you should.
No, I agree. I mean, West Jones, coming back 5 straight wins after the 0-6 start. I think they're starting to find their footing. South Jones, like Kevin said, it's going to be a sneaky team. I'm not going to reiterate what y'all have already said, but Northeast Jones is the team, and I know it's early, but they're on alert out in the jungle. This team, from what I'm seeing and from the stats that are out there, this team is going to have to kick and claw their way if they're going to get to a number 4 seed. And right now, I don't know what's going on inside that program, but this does not seem like a cohesive unit right now. I know before the season, Coach McKeever said that a lot of how they were going to set their lineup would be based who was ever on the mound and who's behind the plate. Something's not working out in the jungle, and this is really scary. If you combine the softball teams and baseball teams at 6 teams, when it's all said and done, fellas, this team might have the worst record of the 6, and I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
It's scary that they lost to Newton County. No disrespect to Newton County, but 3-2.
That's a game you gotta have.
Yeah, 3-2 to Newton County and 8. Newton County sitting at 5 and 6 overall. Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
and it's not going to get any easier in district play. It's going to get way tougher.
Yeah, because you named off the teams in their district. I mean, when you're looking at Van Cleve, Purvis, Summerall. I mean, Summerall South.
Summerall South.
But I mean, it's so
East Central.
You've got to figure something out, and you hope. They've got the coaching staff too, but there's only so much a coach can do. The coach can't get out there and pitch. The coach can't get out there and hit the ball. The kids have to execute, and that's just got to happen.
And we have to remember they lost a lot of talent.
They did.
They lost a lot of talent. You lost to Caden Padgett. You lost tons of talent out there.
You did, but you look across the county, right down over in Ellisville, a heck of a lot of talent lost there from a team that played for the state championship, and
7 starters.
And they're sitting at 7-4 right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, something's amiss in the jungle, and we'll leave it at that.
Yep. Well, this will serve kind of as the wild card because conference basketball tournament has begun next week. Of course, we'll see the tournament begin, which is always an exciting time of year, especially for those of us who follow sports. We're looking at the conference. Before I get to y'all's question, kudos to USM. Their season ended this weekend, but they made a run to the Sun Belt Conference semifinals championship in that tournament. So, I mean, Coach Ladner, I know it's not the season they wanted, but that's a good way to finish if you're not able to go ahead and win the whole tournament. So hats off to them. Hopefully that's a sign. This year, USM was kind of that Jekyll and Hyde basketball team, much like Ole Miss and State have been Jekyll and Hyde basketball teams this year. I'm hoping that maybe they can ride this momentum to build on something for next year, but we'll see. But the question to you guys is simply this. What's your wild prediction? You can pick whichever conference tournament you want. Give me a wild prediction for what we might see happen this weekend in these conference tournaments. Kevin?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. Had the unfortunate sitting in Iron Horse Saturday watching Alabama beat the brace off of my team.
Which you picked. You called that.
I did call it.
It's all right. Hey, they bounced back today. They beat Mississippi State in the opening round of the SEC tournament.
Yeah, look, and I'll say this just as trying to be unbiased as possible. Auburn's the type of team that could go into the SEC tournament right now and make a run.
Look, this is a bold prediction, Kevin.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
They could go and make a run and win the freaking tournament. But then they could go to the next round and get blown out by 20. But my bold prediction is Auburn's going to go and make a run. They'll make a run and get to the finals and then lose in the most humiliating fashion that they can find. That's my pick.
Guru?
We just doing SEC?
No, you pick whichever conference you want. So if you want to go outside of the SEC, do it.
I'm gonna go to the Big 12, and I could be proven wrong here in a few hours because they tip off at 6:00. But I'm gonna say BYU goes on a run and wins the Big 12 tournament. They were at one point ranked around, if not in the top 10. They've kind of fallen off at the back end of the season, but I don't know. I think there's something with that team. They may be even a Sweet 16 Cinderella team for me coming up in the picks next week. That for some reason they just popped in my mind. I saw that they played West Virginia today. And I'm going to go with them. And Jack, I'll go back to what you were talking about with USM. With the way they finished and making it to the Sun Belt Conference semifinals, I would bet that they're going to get a chance to play in the NIT. Hopefully, I mean, it depends on where they're ranked or whatever. Maybe that'll be one more home game at Reed Green. But at least Ladner can have on his resume of getting them into the NIT, which I think would be something big for them to build on going into next year. But continuing talking about the conference tournaments, I mean, I know there's two finals today. I don't remember which conference. One of them tipped off at 4. There's another one that tips off at 6 tonight. And they're your smaller conferences. Today's Wednesday. Thursday and Friday we'll have probably each somewhere at least 5, if not 6 or 7 conference championship games going on. And I urge you, because, I mean, if you watch some of these, and Jack can attest to it, there's some of these teams, if you watch, these are going to be a couple of these teams are going to go and knock one of the Power 4 teams off in the opening round of March Madness, which will begin Thursday of next week. And it's a little way to do a little bit of homework.
Yeah.
I do it every year, and especially tomorrow night. I don't know who's on tap, but I'll be tuning in to the conference championships across the board to see who that Cinderella team might be, because I remember the year Loyola Chicago made a run. I started watching them in the quarterfinals of their tournament that year, and I actually picked them to go to the Sweet 16 that year
I had them in the Sweet 16
based on what I watched leading up to the tournament. And you know, we had the conversation yesterday about turning the TV on. I was told Jack, well, there's no finals on right now. And he made a good point. You know, he said some of the best games are in the opening couple of rounds, in which there are. I mean, I remember a Big East game from years ago. It could have been the semis. It might have been the quarters. It wasn't the final.
Was it Syracuse?
It was a Syracuse game. What was it? 6 overtimes or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my sister,
Wasn't it Paulus hit like a punter to finally end
yes. And it was just insane. And we were texting back and forth, and she gets into the tournament. She's not a huge basketball fan, but when it comes down to conference championships and then the big dance itself, she gets into it. I'll never forget, I'm watching the game. I'm expecting to get a text from my brother or something, and my sister's texting me, and here we go back and forth for like the next 5 overtimes, just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching. But I mean, there's some really fun games. I mean, it whets your appetite for what's about to come down next week. And it's just, in my opinion, I think and I'm talking about ones that happen every single year, not like your World Cups that are, you know, every 4 years, or the Olympics or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the one tournament every year that is the most exciting tournament in America, for at least Americans, is March Madness, the big dance, the NCAA men's tournament. I mean, it's just something different, and it just keeps growing, and year in and year out with the people that keep tuning in, and it's just going to be fun to watch.
And we're not going to be here next week to even talk about what's good, but that's even better because when we come back the following week, we'll be able to talk about.
But we will still have our leader call brackets that we can either be ready to crumble and throw in the trash can over there, or start bragging a little bit as we get ready for the finals.
I think Kevin and I tossed ours pretty early last year.
I did. I was so disappointed in my bracket, y'all.
Now, one thing, and here's my kind of bold prediction. Miami, Ohio is sitting at 31-0 right now. And there's still people saying that that's a bubble team. My prediction is if they do not win their conference tournament, they will leave them on the outside looking in. Don't agree with it. I think they should be in regardless. But I think they have them as a bubble team, even though I don't necessarily think they should be. I think they have to win their tournament to get in the NCAA. I hope they do, so we don't find out if I'm right in that situation.
And I want to throw something out there about that, because I heard this last week. Joe Lunardi is the ESPN bracketologist. I'll give him the guru of predicting the NCAA tournament, because the guy lives it, breathes it. I wish I could get paid and make a living off of just covering just covering bracketology, as ESPN likes to call it, because that's all the dude does. 365. I mean, as well as I do, the Tuesday after the national championship game, there will be an article posted on ESPN talking about Joe Lunardi's bracketology for the 2027 tournament.
Oh, it's way too early.
Just like they started talking about Super Bowl 62 or 61, whatever's the next one, the day after the Super Bowl was over. Yeah. But he does an outstanding job, and I think like over at least a decade, he usually hits around, and not necessarily the seeds, because you don't know how, but as far as picking the field of 68, he usually hits 65 or 66 out of the 68 repeatedly. And I say that to go back to Miami of Ohio, because even after they completed their perfect 31-0 season, he still had them projected as an 11 seed. So
I'm okay if they end up being an 11 seed if their schedule is weak. I just think regardless of the tournament.
No, that's what I'm saying, because it kind of makes you feel like your point might be proven correct if, and I would double down on your bold prediction of them not getting in by making the prediction that they don't win the MAC tournament.
Yeah, I could see that happening, because there's, an Akron team that's 26-5 that could very easily.
Well, if you go back and look at their last half dozen games, there were at least 3 or 4 of them, a couple that went to overtime, and 3 or 4 that were a one possession game. And I mean, they're gunning for, because you're 31-0, it doesn't matter what conference you're in. Whoever you play, they're coming for you. You're going to get their best. I don't know if they're going to play 2, 3, 4 games in the MAC tournament, but whoever they're playing, they're going to get their A game.
Then, let's go back to baseball for our next 2 stories before we get to our picks. First, last night USM downed Ole Miss 2-1 with a walk-off hit in the bottom of the 9th against Ole Miss's closer. And I'm gonna follow a question to you guys, because I've seen a lot of Ole Miss fans crying that it's just a meaningless midweek game. I have a hard time agreeing with that when you throw out your best closer to try to keep the score tied at 1-1. I don't think Ole Miss coaching staff was treating this as a meaningless game.
I sure as hell don't think the players were.
And this is also, in addition to being in-state teams facing one another, you're also battling for the same recruits. So I think that also is at play. So I think that's a weak excuse, because I can promise you this. If Ole Miss had won, I didn't hear state fans making that excuse when Southern beat them. Did not. I think if Ole Miss had won, they wouldn't be making that excuse. They'd just
be like, saying, hey, we just beat the number 7 team in the country.
Yeah, we're a powerhouse. We're the best team in the state. They'd be projecting that the same way Southern fans are at the moment. So pretty sure I know that Guru does not agree with that sentiment. Kevin, where do you lay on that?
It's a meaningless game. No, I'm just kidding.
I was
Kevin
gonna
loves
say,
to
this
troll.
guy doesn't know crap about baseball.
He couldn't even say that one without grinning from ear. You can't see him because of the monitor. I knew he was messing with us from that grin.
I do think that Ole Miss fans there's some cope there. Because obviously these players these players, this coaching staff on both sides, they want to win this game to represent the Magnolia State. They want to say at the end of the day, we have the better record against the three, schools, the D1 schools in the state. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. I said this with Mississippi State at the end of the day. In the rankings, it's probably not a big of a deal.
It's bragging
but
rights.
State pride, baby, it means a lot. I mean, you don't have USM running out on the field, and in the same turn, if USM goes up to start Vegas and they Mississippi State wins on the walk off,
we just lost Guru.
You don't have you would. Let me get my thoughts right. If Mississippi State beat USM on a walk off, Mississippi State, they would run out. Oh, okay, here we go.
All right, hold on. Were we just trying to get calisthenics in there? Good, because
I forgot to put my hat on. I was wondering why my brain wasn't working so right.
He literally runs
He's
down
literally
the
got
steps
sweat.
and runs
He's
back
got
up.
sweat
He's
marks
out of
under
breath. Look at him. Do we need to check your pulse? Make sure you hadn't sped things up too much there, Goo.
Now bark 0. It doesn't have sugar. I'll be good.
No, it does matter in this grand scheme of things for state pride. The rankings, it probably won't matter as much. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean,
College baseball rankings suck.
State moved up when they lost, so it didn't hurt State to lose to Southern.
Well, Southern Miss shouldn't have lost to freaking Nichols either.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't affect State
But
to lose.
now that is a meaningless midweek game.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back. I don't care about rankings in college baseball. I think they're stupid. One, there's 47 different polls out there.
Yeah.
But with all three of these teams ranked in the top 25, this is a win for Southern Miss that could help them as far as their RPI goes when it gets to the postseason.
Yeah.
Especially in getting another regional in Hattiesburg.
So, no, this is absolutely not a meaningless game. Like Jack said, why would Ole Miss be going to their number one closer if it was a meaningless game?
Yep. And kudos, West Jones alum, Camden Clark got the win last night for the Golden Eagles. So always want to give a shout out to one of our local kids when they do something special. So big shout out there as well.
Stop coping, Ole Miss fans.
Yeah, stop coping. That's fair. Look, if you'd won, you'd be bragging like you did because you would have done something.
That's why I had to go get the hat, because I had to brag on LSU because my boys were in a bit of a slump. They had lost 4 out of 5 games to non-Power 4 schools. That has not happened since 2011, 15 years. Got on the ropes early last night against Creighton, down 4-1. Had a grand slam and another 2-run homer and came back to win 8-4. And after that game, you would have thought they just reached the College World Series because they kind of got a monkey off their back. And to think midweek games are meaningless, yes, there's some that are, because when you talk about a Nichols State, southeastern Louisiana,
they're more meaningless after conference play begins.
Correct.
Let's say that.
Correct. And which, that's fixing to pop off this weekend for the SEC. And just on a whole, there's games like this. I mean, had this flipped and Ole Miss down Southern 2-1, I think they would be feeling a lot better going into their weekend series to open up SEC play than the flip side of they're going into it coming off of a hard walk-off loss.
Yeah. Look, if these 3 teams, State, Southern, Ole Miss, played each other 10 times, it'd probably be 500. Because they're that
with these
close.
3 squads,
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're that close to one another. So there's no shame.
And we're going to see how Southern can do once they leave the comforts of the Pete, because they're going to go up to Starkville. They're going to play Southern Miss and Ole Miss and Pearl. So they're going to play both of these teams outside of their home field, and could be a different story.
Absolutely.
Might be the same story. They might end up being the state champs.
It's is definitely interesting. And Southern's going to have a big test this weekend, I'm told, going up to Arkansas State, who I'm told has a much improved program. So, it's going to get interesting, and we'll see how things progress for the Golden Eagles, for the Bulldogs, and for the Rebels. And we're excited to see 3 state teams really, really solid. Guru may be less excited about the 2 in his conference, but it is what it is. Now let's get to another team. You talked about getting down. Let's talk about the World Baseball Classic. And Kevin's not 100% familiar with this, just full transparency.
It's baseball, man.
Team USA, well, it's also a tournament that I think until this year, there wasn't as much hype. There's so much hype behind Team USA. You've had people saying this is the best lineup in the history of the game. I don't necessarily agree with that, but, I think the current Dodgers lineup might even be a little better, but it's a great lineup. And it's one of those where you watched USA coast through their first 3 games. They were supposed to wipe the floor with Italy last night. They got down 8-1. 8-1. They came back and made it 8-6, but they lost. And now they're on the verge of being eliminated. And it's going to come down to the Italy-Mexico game tonight. If Italy wins, the USA's in. If Mexico wins, and they don't score at least 5 runs in 9 innings, USA's out. USA's out. So they need them to put up 5. And if it goes extra innings, tied at 1, and Mexico puts up 5 runs, they're still out, because it has to be 5 runs in 9 innings to settle the tiebreaker in this pool play. And what makes matters worse, and this is what the part that Kevin doesn't know about, because when he read the rundown, he made the comment. He didn't know what I was talking about here. USA manager Mark DeRosa made, in my opinion, a fireable mistake, because he thought the USA had already qualified for the quarterfinal. So he sat key players last night. He sat Alex Bregman, who's already hit a couple of home runs in this tournament. He sat Bryce Harper. He pitched a guy that probably wasn't going to be somebody you would start in a game you need. I mean, it's an embarrassment. And then afterwards, and he straight up said, we've already qualified. After the game, he said, I misspoke. You didn't misspoke. You were just dead wrong. And now you've got a lineup that everybody's saying was one of the best ever, on the verge of being eliminated out of pool play, not even making it. Kevin, just to kind of, it's similar to the World Cup, how they have that pool play. This would be the equivalent of a Brazil, a Germany, having one of their super teams and not getting out of the pool play. That's what we're staring down because the U.S. doesn't control their destiny. They need either Italy to just go ahead and win, or Mexico to score at least 5 runs in a win. It's crazy. I mean, what do you make of it, Kevin, hearing this for the first time?
I blame South Jones head coach Mason Strickland for this.
Very fair.
I mean, even Mason could have.
He would have known.
He would have known this, right? He wouldn't have needed Trey Sutton to tell him.
No, he wouldn't have.
Does he know who the head coach at Wayne County is yet?
No, he does. Well, he might. He does be keeping up with my page. No, I really legitimately did not know. There's been a lot of stuff I've been going through this week.
Yeah.
And
and I told you not to look it up, too.
That's crazy, man. How do you not know that you're not qualified? Oh, my goodness. And, but none of the players, none of the players were like, hey, we're not, Paul Skeens, man. I feel so bad for Skeens.
I can excuse the player because they're focused on the game at hand, and they're not in charge of the lineup. So they probably didn't even know DeRosa made the comment, because they're not watching the press conference. They're not seeing him talk to media. So they probably saw the lineup and were like, well, I don't know why Harper's sitting. I don't know why Bregman, but we're getting our brothers sometime. They thought they were going to waltz into this game against Italy and just beat them down. And instead, if it wasn't for Pete Crow Armstrong hitting 2 blasts, they would have gotten blasted. I mean, the two run score, the game wasn't really that close.
Right.
I mean, just being honest, Guru and I were keeping up with it last night by delivering. Guru,
Well, and you remember me telling you when I was looking at the box score, I was like, they got like 4 guys in this lineup tonight that didn't even play against Mexico the night before. And, you know,
you remember I told you because I had seen the manager say it. I said, well, they've already qualified, so they're resting players. It wasn't until you and I started talking, we're like, well, how have they qualified?
Because I told you, no, if Italy wins, then it comes down to Italy, Mexico.
Guru knew.
Yeah, he knew.
Should know.
I mean, I mean, if you look at all you got to do is click a couple buttons on the ESPN app and see what the other teams in your pool are doing. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I hope he's not the coach next year, but I mean, you talk about those 5 runs, you know, PAC's home runs, that might make the difference in them getting into the pool play.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't hit those bombs and they end up losing, 8-2, 8-3, they're in a much bigger hole.
Yeah. Or 8-1, because it was 8-1, I think, when he hit the 3-run bomb.
Right. But old Aaron Nola's taking the bump tonight for Italy.
Yes.
LSU
He only can throw
grad.
65, though.
He's going to go 4 innings. He's going to shut Mexico down. Italy's going to win, and Italy's going to push USA and the unforgivable.
So somebody
Mark DeRosa
skipped ahead on the picks.
That's I didn't even know that was on a pick.
That's our last pick.
Well, I'll be dang. Edit that out, Kevin.
No, I'm not. Italy's gonna win.
Yeah, but yeah, the game. I don't know who I think's going to win that one. I mean, part of me thinks because Mexico's got a squad, guys. I mean, they've got some really good major league players on that team.
Oh yeah, and they played USA to a 5-3 game 2 nights ago.
But Aaron Nola's Aaron Nola, you know. So
this will be what? Well, Italy's playing back to back.
Yeah.
Mexico didn't
had
play.
last night off.
They had last night off, so they got a night of rest. But
isn't it in
a lot of
Houston
times
where it's going to be a pro Mexico crowd?
Oh, if you think it was pro Mexico the other night when they played USA, tonight against Italy, good Lord.
Yeah.
It's going to be what, 85-90% for Team Mexico?
I think Mexico is going to win, guys. I hope that they can. I hope they are able to hang 5 on them. They won't do it while Nola's on the mound, but I got a bad feeling Mexico is going to take care of business. So we're going to go ahead and pick that one now. You know, you're still good with Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're good with Italy because you're not picking against your boy. So, but I just have a bad feeling, and I hope that it's wrong. Let me ask you this before we move on, because I had it down. If Mexico wins, do you think they'll get the 5 runs to help USA, or do you think that they'll come up short in that regard and USA's out?
Do they need to win by 5 runs or just
Score
5
runs.
runs?
The
At
tiebreaker comes down to runs scored.
It's a weird.
The USA right now
runs scored
Yeah.
over innings played.
Yep. That's why if they score 5 runs after 9, it doesn't affect it. They have to score it in 9 innings.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yep. I mean, I know we're all rooting for Italy because we want to see.
But it could be now if Mexico just blows it out and puts up 10 or 12 and Italy scores like 1 or 2, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
USA's getting in. That's all I care about.
So whether Mexico wins or not,
Yeah,
you see USA advancing.
USA's getting in.
Go. Aaron Nola.
Well, no, I mean, Nola could go, you know, if he's on point, I think 4 innings is probably going to be maybe get to a batter or 2 in the 5th. I mean, that's max. And that's like, being
That's
on
what
his,
the kid from Italy did last
right.
night.
That's like being on your A+ game. And if he's able to do that, Italy's going to have to score some runs behind him before he comes out, because if he goes out there and let's say he throws 4 1/3 scoreless innings, but Italy's only put up 1 run, and then you put the onus on the bullpen, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, it could end up being a 2-1, 3-1 Mexico victory, and then Mexico and Italy, and hell, who knows? Mexico and Italy might have a little side deal going on.
Yeah, I would not put it past anybody. We've seen that happen in the World Cup before, so would not be
So
shocked.
if you wake up in the morning and Mexico beat Italy 3-2 in a walk-off.
Last question on this before we go to our other picks. I'm pretty sure I know Guru's going to be watching this tonight. I know I'm going to watch it. Kevin, are you going to turn into Mexico, Italy? Kevin will not be watching the World
I
Baseball
can't
Classic.
watch it. I'm about to throw up. We're gonna wake up tomorrow and that's gonna happen. And Trump's gonna bomb somebody once.
He's gonna bomb Italy and Mexico for beating our team. Oh goodness. Well, let's get into it, our other picks, and we'll start with some softball games. We've got 2 games that are going to be played tomorrow. We've got Van Cleve at Northeast Jones, West Jones at Stringer. Northeast Jones has already beaten Van Cleve in softball. They're coming there to the jungle. I think the Lady Tigers take care of business there. And then you've got West Jones at Stringer. Stringer's really good. West Jones is playing a lot better, but I think the winning streak gets snapped. Give me the Red Devils there.
Yeah, give me Northeast Jones, the Lady Tigers, and then give me the West Jones, the Mustangs.
You think West Jones over Stringer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on that. I think Northeast, after their win over Van Cleve yesterday, they get the second one on Thursday, and I think West Jones is going to go on the road and pick up a big win over the Lady Red Devils.
Then West Jones returns home on Friday night to host PRC. South Jones is traveling to Laurel on Friday night. So let's pick the Friday games before we get to our Saturday game. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take West Jones at home, and of course I'm going with South Jones at Laurel.
PRC and South Jones.
Me and Kevin are on the same page. I had the same.
I'm helping us out by not having everyone be perfect. So then you've got a game that I think could be a measuring stick for Northeast Jones. You've got the Lady Tigers traveling to the reservation to take on South Jones. South Jones, I think, wants to make a statement. You know what? This is a team that returned a lot. Northeast Jones did too. This is going to be a war, and I'm going with the Lady Braves because home field, I think, is going to matter in this one. So give me South Jones to take that one.
Hate I can't be at this one. We're being Tupelo, but I'm taking the Lady Tigers in this one. I think they're going to sneak by the Lady Braves.
It's the only one on the whole sheet. I hadn't circled one yet. Wasn't really waiting to see what y'all said. I just can't make up my mind.
It's a tough one.
I mean, in a county matchup in baseball, softball, I don't really see home field advantage as much as you do in football or basketball games. Man, this is a tough one. Right in my backyard. Oof.
You going?
I might have to. But let's see what the weather does this weekend.
Yeah.
It's not looking very favorable.
We may be picking nothing.
We may be picking. I was just about to say we might make these picks and none of these games even get played. I was going to break the tie, but I'm not, because Northeast and South Jones are going to play to a tie. So there you go.
So you think they're going to finish in a tie in this one?
Tie game.
What?
Gotcha.
No shot. That's such a. They're going to finish in a tie game.
Mm-hmm.
Can't finish in a tie game.
Go look at their schedules.
No, come on now. Are we for real?
Tie game. It's a prediction. Tie game.
It's a cop out.
I'm wearing an LSU Tigers hat, so give me the Northeast Braves.
Northeast Braves.
Oh my goodness.
That's about as clear as
You
mud.
see
there.
what they called you? You see what Guru called you, Tigers? Lady
I
Tigers.
just muted Guru.
South Jones
I
Tigers.
muted Guru for that ridiculous.
I'm going to make a real prediction.
Shame.
It's at South Jones, but I'm going to agree with Kevin. I think these Lady Tigers are playing very well, and I will take the ladies from the jungle to come to the reservation and get the W.
Now,
But almost in a tie.
almost in a tie. Now we've got our baseball picks, and I think this first one was probably going to be pretty unanimous on as
I don't know.
Laurel travels to South Jones for 2 games. I I know it might break Guru's heart, but I think South Jones finishes the sweep after 10-run ruling them the other night. Kevin, you dare to go with Laurel in either of these games?
South Jones is going to win these 2 games. It's all Mason Strickland's fault.
All his fault that they win.
Yeah.
So that means that you're actually crediting him by leading them to victory, or are you saying that they're going to win in spite of Coach?
They're going to win in spite of him. He's going to rest everybody, and somehow the boys are just going to pull it out.
You don't see it being 10-run because
he's going to rest everybody.
Yeah. He's going to pull.
He's not going to be aware.
He's going to pull a DeRosa, is what you're saying.
Yes.
He's not aware these are region games.
Yeah. He doesn't know it, but he's my biggest op on this podcast.
South wins both. Combined score 27-1.
We got another Friday game, Taylorsville at Northeast Jones, and I think Terry at West Jones is also on Friday. West Jones is going to beat Terry pretty easily, and man, I want to be proven wrong, but I think Taylorsville takes the Tigers in the jungle.
Yes. I'm picking Northeast Jones. I beat up on them too much earlier. I'm taking them. I'm taking the West Jones Mustangs Friday night's game. I'm also taking South Jones on Saturday.
That would be that's fair. I think I'm also going to take South Jones on Saturday, but I think it's going to be a close game.
West Jones over Terry.
Back it up, Terry.
Taylorsville defeats Northeast, and West Jones defeats Northeast.
We hadn't gotten to that one yet. That's he went ahead and picked South Jones at Seminary, which I didn't read that one off. He just jumped over.
Seminary wins that game.
Oh snap!
I don't think that's a bad pick. I think those two teams are going to be in a battle. And of course the last game, which Goo's already said. Who'd you say on that one, Goo?
West Jones.
West Jones at
spiraling
Northeast
out of
Jones.
control in the jungle.
Look, I think this is two teams going in different directions. West Jones also has payback on their mind as well from losing to them earlier this year. I think the Mustangs are going to take care of business in this one, so I think they're going to win this county matchup on Saturday.
Ask me what I learned from all these years.
What have you learned from all these years, Kevin?
Ask me what I earned from
what have
all
you
these
earned
years.
from all these tears, Kevin?
Ask me why so many fade.
Why do so many fade, Kevin?
You can't hear him now. He's been muted. He knows better. He just has to make me push buttons.
No, he just pushes your button.
And then I push his mute button.
Jones Mustangs trot over the Tigers. That's the last pick, baby.
That's fair. Because Guru decided to jump out of order. Oh, goodness. Again, as we said before, we will be off next week. I think our plan is to come back the following week, or y'all thinking
1st of April.
1st of
April the 1st, April Fool's Day, baby.
And it's not a joke. It just happened to fall on the actual April Fool's Day. We'll be here in the studio. And it's going to be a lot of catch up, but it's going to be a much better show because we're going to be staring down the barrel of the final 5-6 games for each of our local schools in softball, baseball as they're making a push to the playoffs. We're going to know a lot more about these teams as we have the opportunity to go out and see them all. And then we'll also be, at that point, we'll probably be making our Final Four picks and telling you how good, mediocre, or terrible our brackets were.
It's out back, Kevin. Anyway, and I think that's important too, because of basketball coverage, news coverage, we have just not gotten to go to the games that we want to. We got to go to a couple of baseball games early, but we didn't get to go even many then because of soccer playoffs. And then it transitioned into basketball playoffs. So yeah, it's been difficult. We all love baseball and softball, but we just haven't really we'll get that opportunity now. So that's part of the reason for the break. That doesn't mean we might not post a Facebook Live or maybe a short video here or there. It just won't be a full length show. Plus we also kind of need a break every now and then. But yeah, it's it's going to be a fun break for us. You know, I think Kevin's got spring break plans in addition to,
Go to church, baby.
yeah. So, I mean, he's got,
Luke Bryan. I mean, Zach Bryan.
Oh.
Zach Bryan.
Oh, yeah, you got Zach. When's that?
28th.
Oh, yeah, I got Eric on the 19th.
But I'm in Tiger Stadium, baby.
That's true. I'll be at Tiger Stadium in
Shut up.
I'll be
Mute
there,
him.
man.
Mute him.
Post Malone, baby.
I don't mute. If he had said Taylor Swift, then I would have muted him, but I'm okay with that.
We don't allow that in Tiger Stadium.
Apparently you do.
Actually, that would sell out in about, what, a minute and 18 seconds.
Yeah, what's that like?
And then the secondary market would be, God,
Worse than Bruno.
it would be ridiculous.
Be glad you don't have a 12-year-old child, Jack, that wants to see Bruno Mars. And tickets are $2,000 a piece in the Superdome.
Yeah, but he helped the Mississippi economy, didn't he?
He put us on the map. I mean,
Uptown Funk, baby.
because of 5 million.
Red dress. I see you.
Oh man, I think we need to wrap this one up soon, or else we're going to turn into a political show before you know it. I've got things to say there, but you can check that out tomorrow on Chris McDaniel's America, or later this evening if I get a chance to record the audio only Right Side Radio show. So
Shameless plug.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
Not shameless.
You can find out who the Wayne County head coach is if you follow my business page.
Tell
It's
them
already been
where your
announced.
business page is.
Kevin Lindsey is with my name.
It's been announced.
Kevin with an A, baby, baby,
But
baby.
nobody on this show cares, so that's why we're not saying it. We'll let Kevin plug, and they can go there, right?
Spoiler alert, Tracy Lampley.
Wow. Thanks for ruining my video.
I think your video already got its clicks when it was announced
Can
a
you-
couple of days ago.
Can you confirm my sources?
I can confirm your sources.
I confirm them.
Look, before we go, Kevin, it was pretty ridiculous as Kevin was putting out that, hey, I know the coach is getting named tonight, and you had some people trying to say, well, we hadn't heard that, and it just
Let
turned
me go
into
on
a
a
silly
Kevin
thing.
rant for the final
Yes.
minute.
Go ahead.
90
Go for it.
seconds,
Do
okay?
it. Do
Let's
it.
go
Look,
through this.
Go on the rant and then sign us off.
I'll go on the rant and sign us off. Listen, whenever I report on something, even though I'm not doing it per se under the leader call umbrella, right? Because I just do it for the fun of it, making my own content, the little side project that I do, right? I don't just bring up this stuff out of thin air. And also, I watched Tracy Lampley grow up in the Wayne County High School. If there's anybody that wanted to see him get that job, or really any of the coaches that I mentioned that could have been on the rumor list, it would be me. The second is I'm not going to out my sources who are reliable sources, because that's the point of having sources.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if you don't have those sources, but I did. And that's the way it is. Jack has sources that he deals with on the news side. Guru has sources that he has had, namely with the Scott Pearson hire.
And none of
had
your sources are Mason Strickland at all, right?
None of
You
my
don't trust-
sources are
you don't
Mason
trust
Strickland
his-
at all. Mason is one of my top fan badges on Facebook.
He might be one of my sources.
Oh, but anyway, trust the sources, baby. That's all I'll say. Trust the sources. And that is Kevin Lindsey signing us off.
And who are your co-hosts? You gotta do it right.
I'm
You,
fixing to do
do I need to do it for him?
You did it well last week. He was about to just end the video without even
No,
acknowledging it.
Kevin Lindsey, and we're peacing out from
We're
the Leader
peacing
Call
out from
Sports
the
Show.
Laurel Leader Call podcast. This is my co-host, Jack Fairchilds. This is my other co-host, Jack Guru Nichols.
Yep, he's
Josh
muted.
Guru Nichols.
Josh, give us a proper
And for
send-off.
Kevin Prince Lindsey,
or Kevin, what's his last name?
Kevon.
Kevan Lindsey.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning in to our goofy segment of the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I am Josh Guru Nichols for our host, Jack Fairchilds, and our producer and co-host, Kevin Lindsey. We will see you on April the 1st. Eat some crawfish.
And that's how it's done, Kevin.